Today's episode is brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott. Now, Joe is not only a fantastic guitar player, he draws on his years of experience as the ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and also at the McNally Smith Music College. Here's a few words from Joe about the course.
If you're tired of wading through hundreds of random guitar videos and just want to become a better player, Fretboard Biology is your answer. Fretboard Biology is a self-paced, college-level program that'll give you the right instruction, in the right amounts, and in the right order. You'll learn the same information I taught to thousands of other guitar players over 30 years of teaching in top music colleges. If you want to make real progress with your guitar playing, then sign up for a free 7-day trial at fretboardbiology.com.
Hi there, you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling, and this is the show that I produce in Sydney, Australia, where I speak to leading guitarists from all around the world. Welcome to episode number 201. Now today, our friend Rob Balducci comes back on the show after, about 5 years absence. It's great to have Rob back. He's an amazing high-energy rock instrumentalist, great player. We talk about his new album, Transcendence, which is fantastic. We talk about Rob's ongoing relationship with Ibanez and Damasio. He's been endorsed by both of those companies for over 30 years. And we also talk about some really cool software Rob has been developing with Overloud THU. Rob's had rave reviews from Guitar World, guitarist for the Practising Musician, Guitar Magazine UK, and none other than Steve Vai, who notes that Rob strikes a beautiful balance between technical delivery and emotional investment in the song, which is super high praise indeed. All right, let's jump straight into the conversation with Rob Balducci. Rob Balducci, welcome back to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, mate, it's great.
It's been a while, but we had a lot of fun the last time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I was going back, I think that was late 2016. So it's over 5 years ago. I can't believe it. There's a lot that's happened, obviously, but it's flown by.
I know.
So you're sitting in a new studio. This is Blue Buddha V2.
Yeah, I call it Blue Buddha 2.0.
Nice.
Since the last time we spoke and the last record, I ended up moving, so in New York, we tried to find a place that at least had an extra room so that I could have a studio in it, and I actually liked it because I was in the other place for such a long time that, when you could start fresh, you could like neaten it up, so now I'm like big into trying to keep it as neat as possible. Mm-hmm. And, I was able to redo like the studio, and I got the guitars hanging on the walls and stuff. And, so I made it, I got a little rack case here now for all my pedals and stuff. So
yeah, it looks awesome.
A lot of fun.
That's very
cool. A lot of
cool.
work, but a lot of fun.
Nice, nice. Hey, tell me about New York. So again, 5 years plus since we spoke last time. Obviously the pandemic has shifted so many things. What's happening with music? Are gigs back? Are people making music? What's the story?
Well, looks like it's starting to come back, but I myself with my band, we kind of still are kind of playing it a little bit safe. You see with other artists, I mean, big bands, some people were supposed to start earlier in the year and then they canceled it and now they're going in August.
Yeah.
If I keep track of all guitar players and everybody, and Satriani had a tour coming up. He has a new record. He moved it to 2023.
Yeah.
So I talked to a lot of people overseas with some of my endorsements and stuff, and Europe and is still sort of like still feeling it out. So
sure.
We're kind of being careful. We're gonna kind of wait and see how things go. And in the meantime, I got some new equipment to try and do now you could do like live stuff live streaming stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I'm going to start to do more of that. I really never jumped on the whole streaming bandwagon, but now I figured, something to promote a record. I could say, hey, join me today, and I'll do, something for people to look out for on social media. And I'll say, I'm going to do songs from Transcendence today, and then maybe 2 weeks from then I'll do another thing. I'll concentrate on Color of Light, album, H21 album, and do like different songs with backing tracks and stuff like that. So try and make it interesting.
Yeah, cool. That's great. That's great. And where are the other guys in your band from? Are they New York locals as well?
They're from New York too.
Okay,
yeah. So we keep it in touch.
Yeah.
I think that my drummer Kenji, he's kind of like itching to get out to play.
Yeah.
But even like NAMM this year, that they made it in June. It's like one of the I didn't go last year. They had it online, but I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna wait.
Sure.
And we usually do, like, we're playing the Dallas Guitar Show.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that this year either. The other thing is we haven't played in such a long time that I have to really like schedule stuff. We have to get back together with the band, practice before we book shows, because I don't want to go play and be rusty, So there's a lot involved.
Hey Rob, congratulations on the new album Transcendence. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much. I'm excited about it. It took a while to get to finish and to work on and stuff, but I think that goes with. I was never one to put records out very quick after each other anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel that you need to experience life and stuff to get inspiration, and that I think that's a unique thing about my records, is that they each kind of have their own thing going on. And I this one again is a different record. It's still Rob Balducci, but your songwriting changes, your studio changes, what you use to record changes. So I think it has its own kind of unique thing going on.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I thought that listening to it, there were, like I said, a lot of Rob Balducci vibes on there, of course, but it did feel different again from, say, our last conversation. We spoke a lot about 812 Monroe.
Yeah. And
it just feels like it's a very fresh, different statement as well. So that's kind of cool. So I guess the time that you spend and the crafting of each song in a new space, I guess, leads to that. So that's awesome. I mean, you think of bands like, I don't know, AC/DC. Angus has admitted they've made the same record for 40 years, and and that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can have too much of a good thing, but on the other hand, seeing how you've grown as an artist and you keep pushing the envelope is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you figure that especially it's instrumental music, so it's hard to. And guitar players, we all like to play certain things in certain keys and whatever. So you need something. You got to keep it fresh to come out with, something that's going to inspire you. And I really think that has to do with like my whole process about how I write and pushing yourself. Maybe using a little different. Sounds and stuff, and that's one thing about this record I was really able to concentrate on, because being in recording it myself, especially some of it was done in the pandemic, and then some of it was mixing was done in the pandemic. That I was able to like really for each song sort of like hone in on what I wanted it to sound like, and then I was able to experiment with guitars, with amps, with different speakers. Majority of this record was done with 2 Notes audio. I would say 85% was done with my Torpedo Studio, with using those IRs and stuff. So you really could experiment with tones, and I think that's a cool thing about it. So about like recording stuff in your own environment could be a curse as well, because you could go crazy like trying to do stuff, but when you're recording stuff how I used to record when you were doing it in normal studios was, especially because you had to pay for the time, was we would kind of get a guitar sound, and I remember doing this, like we would do all the rhythms to all the tracks, all the back, the doubling of the guitar rhythm, cleans, whatever. Then it was time to do the melodies and the solos, and I would kind of get a sound that I thought I liked, and then we would like bang through the songs. Maybe I would switch guitars, a couple of pedals, but the initial sound was sort of similar.
Okay, sure.
And
sure.
I think that's a cool thing with this record, that kind of each song has its unique character to it.
Awesome, and that comes across definitely. So that's super cool. You mentioned the writing process. How do you write? What do you have? Do you have methods? Do you have patterns that you practices?
Yeah, I've been like doing this thing through this writing process of mine since I started, and it used to be hard. Now it's as you get used to it, it kind of I got used to it, and but really. Like I was saying early in our conversation with, I kind of pull inspiration and song ideas from what's going on in my life at the time. So if you take A21, that's a period of my life, and those songs are written around that period. Same thing with the album before that. So it depends what's going on. There could be negative stuff going on, so the album's going to reflect that. This record, is really a personal record. All of my records are personal, but this one in particular, there was that period of like 2016 and up to now where I was dealing with both of my parents ended up getting sick, and I ended up taking care of them. They both ended up passing away, but that was the inspiration behind the record. That's, the titles has to do with that. Each song has a certain meaning in relation to what was happening at the time.
Sure. Rob, I'm really sorry to hear that. It's hard to lose a parent. You've lost both, man. I'm so sorry. I remember
thank you.
When we spoke last time too, it's actually quite moving hearing you share about your dad and what a positive influence he was on your career. So it's definitely, and I think, and in no way is it like a sad and depressing record, but I think that, especially when you're writing something and you write from the heart, and, I'm not the type that sits around and my process isn't like, hey, I need a heavy song, or I need a song that has to be in 6/8 or some weird time signature. Or I kind of go, my process is I come with, so I'll give you, for instance, on the new record, like there's a track, Life is Precious, which is, what is it? Track 8. And usually what I do with a song is either I have a title, or I have something that inspires the song, and then I start with that. So that actually comes from when I was taking care of my dad, and he was in the hospital for a long time, and I was made like the person that healthcare proxy, so I sort of had to make decisions on what was going on, and my whole thing was, if I was in that situation, I would want someone to, there's two different ways to go. You kind of give somebody, you don't give them the real information, and you kind of, or you give them the information. So my thing was, I would want to know. So I would tell my father, hey, Dad, listen, this is the deal. They want to do this procedure. If we don't do the procedure, basically, it's not going to be good. You're just going to get worse, and you possibly, you're going to pass away. Or we could try this, and it could work, and we could, you can start to feel better. So he would say to me, life is precious. Let's go. Let's do it. So, and that happened like a couple of times, and he would always repeat that phrase. So it stuck in my head. And so that was the inspiration behind the song. Yeah. Wow. That's a beautiful story, man. And that you get to reflect in these tracks is really cool. What's the, it almost doesn't seem important to ask this stuff now, but what's the production process like, and how does that happen during COVID? And again, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know you lost your producer.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy,
process.
right? I mean,
and again, I'm so sorry.
I know. I mean, this record really has, so he passed away in December. I think it was December 21st. He passed away. So the album came out on January 7th. So he actually missed the release of the record.
Oh,
so this record, Transcendence, it basically means like experience going beyond the normal and physical realm.
Sure.
That's kind of like what the meaning is.
Mm-hmm.
And that was supposed to, like, when you look at the cover, there's like that shadowy kind of figure, which is supposed to be me.
Yeah.
And now, since this thing with Steve Simonson, my good friend passed away, that he was a guitar player as well. So that little shadow thing to me now that's Steve.
Okay. Yeah.
He was always with me.
Yeah.
But there was so much work between him and I that went on, especially during the pandemic. We had a lot of fun because we actually mixed the record like this through Zoom. So, you're basically Steve, and I'm here. And we would, when we started mixing, he would like get the initial mix going, and then he would send it to me through WeTransfer, and then we would pop on to Zoom and we both listened to it.
Uh-huh.
And then I had like a notepad, and I would say, all right, let's do something with the guitars here. They need to be up a little bit. And then I would listen. I would say maybe the delay needs. I don't want to ping pong on that. And so he was doing all the physical. He had all the hardware and the software to do everything. So I did the recording here, but he did the mixing. So we would do these things, and like I always looked forward to it. And it would be like, he would email me the mix after what we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go back on Zoom, and then I would listen to the new mix. We'd go back on Zoom, and then we would go back and forth about different things. And I could be a pain in the ass, and so I'm sure he was like, "Oh my God, what is this going to end?" But I could, because I could be, the hi hat maybe needs a little bit too loud on it. He was like, "Oh my God." So, but he definitely he would listen because he knows, like, once I get something in my head, I'll keep bringing it up. So he would do it. And so it was a lot of fun. I've never mixed like that before, but it was a lot of fun because, hey, listen, it was each day, especially staying at home.
Sure.
I was looking forward to those times with him online. We would see each other. We would get the songs mixed, and it took a while, but it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So that was the mixing production wise. And then as far as, like I mentioned before, I started to get into, I kind of was like at the end, probably like 2017 maybe is when I got, there's a company called Two Notes Engineering.
Yeah. And
they make this unit called the Torpedo Studio. And basically what I was doing is I would plug my amps into that, and they would go into Pro Tools, and you were able to pick. This was a stereo unit, so I could pick, like, I could say maybe I could get their model of a 412 with greenbacks on one side with vintage 30s. On the other one, I would use I would use vintage 30s. The other side, I would use 25-watt greenbacks.
Nice.
And then I would listen to how it sounds. And I mean, it sounded so good. I mean, you can't, I would say 85% was done with that.
Okay.
Because it was done in this studio. Some of it was done in the older studio where I had some mics. I still have mics in here, but to be honest with you, it was so easy to use, and I liked the sound so much that I used it for most of the record. Yeah. And the other thing that I got to bring up about this record is the drums were done with an electronic kit. So Kenji played on an electronic kit into the computer. And then we went into and we used Superior Drummer for the sounds.
Okay, for the samples, yeah. Because the drums sound awesome. Yeah. That was going to be one of the questions.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great, right?
Man.
And it's so much easier. And I think the mix is actually easier. Drums is a hard I remember when we were doing A21, it's hard to mix all my records. The drums are the most important thing on the record. So, you know, mixing a live kit is a lot harder than mixing something that's that's a digital kit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, man, it comes across great. So good. Let's talk about some of the tracks. So the opening track, Ring of God, man, that's awesome. And when we talk about some fresh Rob Balducci action, this struck me straight away. So the multimeter stuff moving between 3 and 4, and then my favorite parts when you cross them over as the track progresses is awesome, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I you know, when I was thinking about the record and the sequencing of what the songs, that's a big deal with me. Like, even though in today's world, you know, most people they just go on and you might listen to one track, and I'm like old school. Like, listen to, like, people that listen to this record, please listen to it from the top going through, because that's the way I kind of like arranged it to be.
Yeah.
But I wanted a track that would hit you when you opened it up.
Yeah.
And that track ended up being a really cool track. And the sound of the guitars I really liked. The inspiration a little bit, you know, it was around the whole period with Eddie Van Halen passing.
Sure,
so, you know, if you notice, the solo has like has the Phase 90 on it.
Yeah.
Van Halen,
Nice.
some harmonic stuff. So it was sort of like a homage.
Very
tapping. I'm not a big tapper, and that has tapping in there and stuff. So it's kind of like, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I wrote ferocious ! About the solo. So yeah, good fun. The song The In Between, that's a cool groove as well. And tonally, you're doing some cool stuff with guitar. At one stage, it morphs into some filtering, and it almost sounds synthy, but it still sounds like you shredding on a guitar. That's cool.
Yeah, that was a fun track. I mean, what happened with that track is I love the sound of the rhythm guitars. The drum sound is great. And, you know, I had the bed done, and it was time for me to do the melodies, and it came to the lead break and stuff. And I was like, you know, the guitar player in me would go into that lead break and just shred all over it. You know, you could do that. And I was like, I don't want to do that, because I'm sort of like, I try not to do the shred for the sake of shred.
Yeah,
It's got to be reasoning behind it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to do something totally different. So I ended up messing, and I used this a lot on the record. The Eventide H9.
Okay,
so I was going through there, and I found some weird, like, so it's like a synth kind of like patch that they had. I kind of messed with it a little bit, and then I put the Digitech whammy on with it. So that's how you hear that weird, like, it almost sounds like the keyboard guy turning
his pitch wheel for sure.
It's the whammy. It's the whammy pedal. So that was fun. And then some of the melody to that was done with, let me think. That was the Ibanez, Paul Gilbert, the airplane flanger. It's got a very unique tone to it.
Yeah, nice.
And so that was done on that melody. You know, because I wanted to give the track a different flavor.
Yep. Cool.
And I think it ended up coming out really cool.
I loved it. I love hearing the whammy. I think you've always done quite interesting things with the whammy and octaves and that. So it was nice to hear those touches as well. I think, there's Rob. But again, like we say, like pushing it somewhere else.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott, ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and the McNally Smith College of Music. I was one of the beta testers for the course and can say, as a music educator, I was really impressed by the logical sequence of learning. The course has also been endorsed by players such as Brett Garsed and Greg Koch. For more details, check out the links in our show notes. The track Bliss has got some really beautiful and expressive whammy bar stuff. I love that. Who inspires that in your playing, or how does that fit in as part of your voice?
Yeah, I mean, the bar has definitely been, it's like part of my playing now. You know what I mean? It's like if I play a guitar with a trem on it, like I'm always, you'll see me sometimes, and I'll try to reach for it. It's not there. But yeah, I mean that's an interesting track. That was actually the first track for the record that I recorded.
Okay.
And that was done in Blue Buddha 1, and it was done with, it's interesting because a lot of stuff on this record was stuff that on the original demo, when I started to make the track, I ended up using the tracks. So that whole track, all the guitar parts were done with the atomic amplifier pedal.
Okay, yep.
So the guitar tone on the cleans were done through that. So basically what happened was I kind of got like an idea for the song. I laid it down, and I laid down the rhythm track to a click, and then what I usually do is then I'll put like a basic drum track, like a drum machine down, and then we replace it later, and then I do like anything that has clean tracks, I go and I put another clean track on it. So I did that, and that was sort of like the demo of it. And then I was like, you know what, let me try and like think of a melody to play. So I went back in and I started to, and that everything there is what made it to the record. The melody and the lead break and all that was like one take going through.
Nice.
And I was like, why should I go back and replace it? Because it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter how many times you practice something. You go back and you're never gonna play it the same. Never. So I captured what was on there, and there's something about it that stuck with me, and I was like, you know what, I'm not touching it. There might be a little mistake here and there or whatever, and I was like, forget it. And I think it's a very cool track.
Nice. Yeah.
Very kind of like Jeff Becky inspired.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, not a lot of there's not a lot of wasted notes on it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were doing it, we were mixing it, and Steve was like, it could be a little bit long. Should we do a fade? And I listened back to it, and I was like, you know what? I mean, I'm not worried about the length of a song doesn't mean anything to me. The ideas have to be.
Yeah.
If I feel it's not, it's got to go longer. It's got to go longer. It's not like we're writing for the radio or something.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, no, let's leave it.
Yeah.
So I think it came out really, really cool. And a lot of the melody parts and stuff also, and a lot on this record where I didn't use a pick, and it was just my fingers.
Oh, okay. Have you done that much before?
No, I did it here and there.
Okay.
On record, but this record a lot like that. I think that whole track was done with no pick. Life is Precious, some stuff on there as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You get a different tone, and again, it makes you play different.
I'm trying to guess now which ones you might not have been using a pick. Is 1224? Is there any that finger approach on that one?
Majority of that is hands.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, I love the phrase. I think the phrasing on there is that's one of the tracks that I think, for me in particular, I think is different for me.
Okay.
My phrasing is different. It's a very cool track to me. I love the guitar tone.
It feels to me very dynamic. That's how it struck me. So you can really hear and feel when you're digging in a little harder on that tone. And with your fingers, that's why I guess that one.
That's where it comes.
Cool.
Yeah, especially that's the fingers pick up the nuances. What you were saying before is with the fingers, the dynamics really come out when you use your fingers, because you could play really lightly.
Yeah.
And then dig in, and you could be on a distorted sound, and you pick slightly, and you don't get the overdrive. You kind of get like a nice kind of tone out of it, and then you dig in and you get the overdrive. It's really interesting.
What guitar are you playing on that track?
That track is the newer. It's the AZ Ibanez AZ Prestige. The 20, I think it's called the 2402. It's the flat white model.
Yep.
And it has DiMarzio's. It's got the PAF Joe in the neck, and the bridge is a. They did it like a custom kind of thing wire for me on that one. Like I like the Andy Timmons bridge pickup, but I asked them to make it a little bit hotter. And that's what's in that guitar. I really that's like my favorite sounding guitar now.
Yeah, really. Guitar. That's cool, man. Yeah. That's great. When you say they wound it a little hotter, that's DiMarzio we're talking about there.
Yeah.
Who you've been working with for a long time.
I mean, I only play DiMarzio's. I've been with them, God, how many years now? So if I'm with Ibanez for 31, DiMarzio I was with them before, so it's got to be 33 years.
Yeah, okay. That's great.
Yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
a long time.
So you just call up the custom shop and say, "Hey guys, it's Rob again. Here's
Well, I'm not really so much of a pain. You know what I mean? Like I think I've asked for 2 custom things.
Yep.
This was one of them, and then one was like early, like 19. When was it? Right after maybe 1997, 1996, on one of my Ibanez guitars. I was using the humbucker from Hell in the neck and a tone zone in the bridge, and I remember, I called up Steve Balducci and I was like, Steve, I really like this humbucker from Hell, but maybe we could do something to it. You think we could make it a little bit hotter? He's always like, I love him to death, but he's always like, well, why do you want to do that for? And I was like, I said, maybe a little more, oomph to it, a little more grit or something. So we talked, and then he ended up sending it to me, and he named it the humbucker from Brooklyn.
Nice. That's cool, man.
So I have that one, and those are the only two custom buys that I have.
Cool. That's great.
Because, they make such great pickups. I mean, it's not like, I'm fortunate enough that they, that they did those. I'm fortunate enough to be endorsed with them. I mean,
that's great.
It's like, I would use them. That's the way I am with all my endorsers. Like, I would be using this equipment whether I was endorsed or not.
Yeah.
To have the endorsement is like, it's like icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so Ibanez, you just passed 30 years with those guys. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's 31 years this year. Yeah, it's. Time flies by. I'm fortunate enough to be involved with them still, and I think it says a lot about all the companies that I'm with. Sticking with an artist. Let's face it. It's I'm in a kind of a it's not like I'm a platinum selling artist or anything. And they stood by me. They stand by artists and they kind of develop with them in their career. And that's a very cool thing for companies to do.
Yeah, great.
So you could have people, in my level of the industry, and you could have people that are, platinum albums and stuff, and we all kind of take the same space and use the same equipment, and they support everybody the same way, which is a cool thing.
That's great. So you've got the AZ. That's a newer model, of course. I think I've seen you with a telly-shaped Ibanez. Is that another new one?
That's recent. Yeah, that's recently. I really like it. I really like the AZs. I mean, the thing about the AZs that I like, it's different than anything I have. I never had the stainless steel frets before, which I think does add like a nice kind of like sparkle to the notes.
Okay.
A little higher end to the notes, which I think is really nice. And I love the neck shape on them. I have some stock Ibanez's, and then of course my LACs. These are more closer to my LAC shape, where it's not as thin and it's a little bit chunkier.
Okay.
And so it doesn't, I find that flat guitars like kind of hurts my hand a little bit now.
Yeah, sure.
So these are really nice for that. Very comfortable. I like again, I never had a guitar that had the fretboard and the neck.
Yep.
And I mean, once those guitars were set, I'm not kidding. I got 3 of them. They were all set up once. Never had to be set up again. The necks don't move.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Great. So if like you're traveling, and I traveled with the blue one, and even I think the white one too, traveled some places, because the new one the white one is newer, but the blue one that I got went different weathers, all over the place. Neck just never moved. So it's great to travel, good guitar travel with the roasted maple. And the other thing that's different is, it doesn't have the locking nut. So there's a different, not that I don't like my guitars with the edges and everything on it, but there's a different feel that you get with a guitar that doesn't have a locking.
Okay.
The bar has a different feel, and also, the feeling of the neck, of the strings, the tension's different. So there's something that I like.
That's cool. That's a subtle thing, but it's a big thing as well, I guess.
Yeah. And I thought, you never know, how things are going to be until you get the guitars. But like we were talking about before, I'm a big trem user, user abuser, and no locking thing. I haven't had a problem using them, going out of tune or anything. I find it to be the same as the locking ones, because every once in a while the lockings go out too, and you have the fine tuner.
Yeah.
So you can fine tune them a little bit here. So instead of doing it down there, I do a little adjustment here and there, but nothing major.
Yeah, great. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Sounds cool on the tracks as well. Which is the ultimate.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And again, I dig you've worked with these guys for a while. With the album distribution, are you doing that yourself, or how are you doing that this time around?
Yeah. This one and the last one, 821 and this one were the first 2 albums. The first albums that I released on my own, and I released this one on my own as well. That seems to be the trend now. I mean,
sure.
Because let's face it. I mean, a lot of stuff is just being released digitally. I still did CDs, I did physical, but there's no records. There's not a lot of record stores anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no album places to buy albums. So I mean, the only reason a record label would probably be beneficial is probably, I don't think it would help on distribution, because most everything is digital anyway. So it would help with promotion.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't feel the difference. It was cool. That the albums before came up on majority of my records were released on Vai's label.
Yeah.
But then that kind of like went away as well. Because of the business of selling stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So, they say that CD sales are coming back a little bit. I mean, I did the physical. I did the physical because me as a person, I still like the physical.
Yep.
So I figured, I might as well do some CDs, and I did get people buying them. And I do like if people are interested in the CD, even if you're interested in digital download now, I have a new website. You can go on. You can download the CD from there. I also have the backing tracks for this record.
I noticed that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and the CD, I'll personalize it, and it comes with a picture and 2 pics. I try to add something in there that's different than just buying, digital or downloading from iTunes or something.
Yeah, cool. One thing I've seen you doing online as well is having a talk through the tracks of the album in these 4 or 5 minute little videos, which are really great. So I'll add all the links to your stuff in the show notes, but people should definitely check out those videos too.
Thank you.
I think you're up to track 4 or something. You've done 3 or 4.
I'm about to do Bliss.
Okay.
I've been kind of holding it out. It's something to help, bring up the record again and stuff.
Nice.
So I've been doing it little by little.
Great.
It's fun. It's a fun thing to do.
Is there anything else you want to let us know about today, Rob?
Yeah, this is something that, for people to take note of. I've been involved with a company, a software company called Overloud, THU.
Okay.
And it's a guitar software, and I really dig it. And we hooked up, and I did like I actually finished it. I've been working on it. I just recently finished it, so it's a preset pack, Rob Balducci preset pack that you'll be able to purchase, and it has like around 20 presets that I came up with, and I kind of did like the new record. I did like a preset for 1224 for the lead and melody sound. I did one for the rhythm sound, and then the backing tracks are going to come with it as well. So yeah, links to the website. Yeah, definitely, and definitely check out people to check out the new robbalducci.com, because it's definitely I updated the website. It's more personable, and you'll see new stuff coming on there. Like you'll start to see more of the backing tracks in the new record are on there. I'm probably going to slowly put the backing tracks of the other records up there.
Great.
And I got the first time in a long time, I have like shirts available that you can buy on there. So definitely people should check it out.
Excellent. Good to hear, Rob. Well, you've obviously been super productive during the last crazy couple of years. You've kept powering on, and you've released an amazing record. So again, congratulations. I'm so happy for you and the other cool music stuff going on with you right now.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming back on the show, man. It's always great to speak with you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like it. I good luck with the show. I mean, it's cool.
Thank you.
It's always good to talk with you. I listened to your interview. I listened to the Guthrie one. That was really interesting.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
It's a good show.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, there you go, Rob Balducci. I'm super happy to call Rob a friend of the show. Always love speaking to him. And yeah, check out that album. Check out the links to robbalducci.com that will be in the show notes. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me on the Guitar Speak podcast. There's heaps of great stuff still to come. Andy Timmons, Dave Leslie of the Baby Animals comes to tell us about his new band. We talked to Chad Wynn, who was a luthier inside Gibson during the Firebird X days. So to get the backstory on that, super cool. Our iconic albums, our iconic guitar series continues with my co-hosts Rob and Gabor. We've got a lot of fun episodes ready to launch as well. So heaps of cool stuff going on, heaps of good episodes in the back catalogue too. Satriani, episode 200, that was pretty cool. Guthrie Gavan, David Aegis, there's some of the recent interviews we've checked out. All right, my name's Matt Wakeling. You've been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast, and in the words of Michael Schenker,
keep rocking, keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking, indeed. I'll catch you next time.